Well, thank you very much, Wolfgang, for the nice words and nice introduction. And let me say also, by the way, that Wolfgang's Spanish is amazing. So it's definitely much better than my German. And I would be really in deep trouble if he was starting testing my German. So please don't tell him, because then I will be in trouble. So hi, everyone. So how are you? How are you guys doing? Are you enjoying the Expo event so far? Yeah. Yes, good. Expo is also very core to my heart, and I'm very excited about the next session we're going to have. Because we have 3 very exciting people are going to join us. All of them, they have been very successful in their international expansion. And we're going to discuss, with all of you guys, world premiere here, their experience in the international journey, their lessons learned, and what advice they have for other companies that are also in that journey. So let me first introduce our 3 guests. So first, we have Andrew Filef, who is the founder and CEO of Rike.com. Rike is an online project management tool for easy collaboration. It was founded in 2007 in the US, got very successful there, and they're currently expanding aggressively internationally. They have a great set of customers, including teams from eBay, from Stanford, and even Google. So well done, guys. Andrew, he's originally from Russia, but now lives in San Francisco. And he actually started very early. He founded his first software company when he was 18. And then he has been very successful in the US. He was recently been featured in Forbes magazine and New York Times. So Andrew, welcome.
Guillermo.
And great to have you. We have also Philippe Mulbauer. Did I pronounce your last name well?
Yeah, that's right.
Perfect. So Philippe is the co-founder of Picanova. Picanova was founded in 2006, and it's now one of the world's leading manufacturers of individual wall decorations. They sell now in 170 countries, so 170, using 30 different platforms, and they have physical facilities in Germany, Asia, US, and the Baltics. Philippe started the company with his brother, and he's the general manager. He's a serial entrepreneur, and he has a few other ventures in place. And I think interesting fact also, Picanova actually started in a garage in Germany, doing a small test in eBay, selling kind of classical copies. So from an eBay test in a garage to 170 countries. So very, very, very impressive. So Philippe,
hi,
welcome. Thanks for joining. And then last but not least, we have David Pinto. He's a strategic country development manager in Trivago. Trivago was, all of you know, is a travel meta search engine. It compares over 250 booking sites to choose and find the right hotel for you. It was founded in 2005, and it now operates in 47 different countries and over 25 languages. So think about the complexity of that international operation. David is responsible for analyzing potential new markets and coordinates the setup of the new regions. So very relevant for the discussion today. And also an interesting fact about David, he was actually a medalist in a world championship of karate representing France. So don't mess with David. David, welcome. So I think, first of all, thank you very much for being here with us. I think it's going to be a great discussion. And we have been discussing today, a lot about the importance of export. And Gary Flynn talked about the importance of becoming truly global. I think all of you guys have been very, very successful on that international journey. So I would like to start the discussion with kind of, if you could explain to us, what has been that journey for you, and what has been the biggest challenge that you have faced in that international expansion. Maybe Andrew, I will start with you.
So Rike is an online product, basically software as a service. So for us, the beginnings were both easy and humble. So when we launched our product, we first targeted the United States. That's where we're headquartered. But one by one, we actually got customers in over, at that point, 50 countries. So originally, it was kind of customers came to us, and that let us recognize their potential. We thought, OK, well, we can actually, if it works without us doing much, maybe we could do a little bit and get a little bit more. And so internally, the whole culture in the company is very focused on incremental but very fast improvements. So for us, export was not a global decision made it one day, you know, and kind of top-down implemented over the next 5 years. It was more of a combination of a lot of small steps, but executed very fast, and we're continuing on the journey. And so we started with the product that wasn't localized and advertising that wasn't localized. And then gradually we added more languages in the product. Gradually we started advertising different local languages, and we continue on that journey. For example, part of the reason why I'm in Dublin this week is because we're looking forward to open an office here. So for us, it's been a long and prosperous and continuous journey.
Philip?
Yeah, for us as well. I mean, our home market is Germany, and when we first started to sell our products over the internet, we sell individualized photo products. Our special or our major product are canvas prints. And when we first started in 2008 with selling over Google AdWords, we had just one product in one market, and starting to get more and more orders and building up more and more capacity in our own production facilities, we were in the need both and had the chance to just add more and more countries that were just in front of us in Europe. And because adding more quantity and adding more countries in our market means higher buying power towards both logistics and materials, that was for us just a very natural decision. The next part then was to go abroad and build up production facilities in different markets. That was rather harder than just export within Europe. And yeah, one example is building up the production plant in the US. That was not as easy, but we managed to export very well due to staff that we could trust and that we trained in our German headquarters, both from the manufacturing and customer service point of view.
Oh, very good, very impressive. And Felipe, we will double down on that kind of logistics and setting up operations in other countries later on. Before that, so David, I know that also Trivago, amazing expansion international journey. So
yeah, I think from the very beginning, Trivago was a very international company. When we came up with the concept of meta search in 2007, so we were in the German market, it's actually a German company. Right away, the management decided to go for additional markets. So they moved to France, they moved to Italy, Spain, the UK. And despite concern that users might be different, that might not work, they decided to go. And what we saw is that Trivago became successful in those markets very quickly with the same business model and the same, or more or less the same, strategy in terms of marketing. So initially, very successful in similar markets in Europe very, very quickly. Then as we expanded further, we went to Asia, we went to Latin America, recently Middle East and Africa. Things became a bit more complex, of course, because users are very different. They interact differently with the website, use different marketing channels, different media. So here, understanding the consumers in each of these regions is very key.
Thanks, David. And I know it's been so starting in Europe and then expanding to other farther away countries. And I think drilling down on that, and it will be also a question for the three of you, but I will start with David because I know it's very close to your heart. So you most are established already in major markets. And I think one of the challenges probably, in this room we share is, the choice of what are the new markets we're going to enter in. And I would like to hear from each of you. So how do you assess the new potential markets? What data do you look for? And how you make the decision of going to a new market? And I will start with you, David.
All right, yeah. So for me, the first thing I try to assess is the readiness of the market to use Trivago. So I look at online travel trends, I look at the number of online users, the general economic trends in the market. But I have a minimum requirement. It's 1 million internet users in the country. But I also try to take a long-term perspective, especially for this. Now we are in 50 different countries. So when I look at maybe less popular markets, I try to take really this long-term approach and look at the potential growth. So here I look at recent development in terms of online penetration, also looking at the economy, how it could be in 5 to 10 years, and again, overall development of the online travel industry.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, David. What about you, Philip? Because probably 170 countries, so there is not many countries left to conquer. But yeah. How do you think about those things?
I just have to add very small things, because David already covered mostly the majority of the factors that we look at as well. For us, obviously, the logistics part plays a big role. So if we think about exporting to new countries, we ask ourselves if we can produce the product in any of our facilities and deliver it at an acceptable cost rate, just without adding new production facilities or adding new logistic partners. If the answer is yes, then it's quite easy. That's how we grew basically throughout the last years in Europe and also in the Americas. But if you then think about adding up different countries, like in the Asian countries or in the Middle East, then we also look at, because those markets are not as developed in terms of internet. I mean, Asia is very developed in terms of internet penetration, for sure. But so then we dive a little bit more into the buying trends, also the buying power, the competition. So for us, price plays a big role because we are rather offering our products as discount products rather than premium price products. So for us, it's really important, if there's any chance to get quite some market share at acceptable revenues and acceptable margins. So this is what we additionally look at.
Okay. No, thank you very much, Philip. And then Andrew, I know that you started in a huge market, and now you are probably now looking more detail about that expansion internationally. So it would be great also for you to share what are your thinking process and how you define where to focus first.
So I think between presentations that you've already heard earlier and my colleagues here, that's kind of most of the insight, the pretty similar analytical approach and how we look at different data points. We also, as I've mentioned, we're very test-driven. So for us, you can always go incrementally, and even with a product that's based in one market, you can sell it internationally. I'll give you even an example from physical world. In Russia, two very big retailers right now is eBay with international shipping from States and Alibaba. So very, no physical presence in Russia, but they're the biggest retailers there. And so for us as an sort of online vendor, it's even easier. And you'll be surprised that in some countries, we even found that when we, for example, advertise at local Google, in some countries, the ad text in English work better than ad text in local language. Obviously, there are a lot of countries where kind of it's more logical and reverse way, but it is true for some locales. Yes. And obviously, in Western Europe and a lot of other countries, you can go a long way with English, which can save you sort of costs on translation. So that's been our approach. Yes.
Very good. So I think it's finding those opportunities, testing, and see how results are, and then growing from there. I think that's a great approach. And I think before, in one of the discussions earlier in the presentation, so Kate mentioned about the importance of adapting to local differences. And then this question is for you, David, because I know Trivago has a huge scale in a lot of different markets, and you have been also very successful in countries where local situation, adapting to the local differences is very important. So how do you balance the global scale with kind of adapting to the local needs?
Yeah. So in terms of localization, we don't do that much. We try to keep the same format, more or less, same design, same layout across each locale. So we don't make massive investments in terms of localization features, because it's also a cost, right? It's the more you differentiate your website across different locales, later, like down the line, you might have higher maintenance costs, more complexity. So you really need to assess what level of localization you want to have versus the return and the cost that you might have later. what we do a lot is testing. That's really key. Really, we move into the market. We usually don't. Well, I make usually the way it works. I make a presentation at the end of the year to the management. I make a few suggestions, and usually it's very easy to pass my ideas through. Management is always okay to test new markets. Then we move, and then we try a lot of different channels in terms of marketing, a lot of different format combination, until we find the right channel to deliver the message we want to pass, and to find the ideal format, let's say, to reach the audience. Also, something very important is to get local people, I think. So every time we open a new platform, we hire a local resource to give us more or less a direction in which we should look at, because we can do a lot of testing, but we should have some minimum guidelines. So really understanding the market is really key, and having local resources and do a lot of testing.
Okay. Thanks for that, David. And I think that kind of talking about the local differences. So before Gary was talking about the big potential of markets like the US or Asian markets. And Philip, I know that you have a great presence in both markets, both in terms of sales, but also you have logistics and operations there. I would love to hear from you also, having played in those two theoretically very different kind of markets. So what are your findings in terms of similarities and differences of operating and being successful in the US versus kind of Asia?
Okay, so we started up, as you said in the introduction, with sourcing our products and producing our raw materials in China.
Yes.
Like many other vendors, probably, retailers here. And obviously we learned a lot from this last decade where we sourced products in Asia. When we first started, quality still was an issue. Price was very good, very low, and you could source all kinds of materials in Asia. There was a certain point in time where, I don't remember, it was maybe 2007, where there was a huge storm in the Asian Sea, so between Japan and mainland China, which led to a blockade of the seaports, so we were not able to get our raw material in time. And that was the first time where we realized relying only on China or on Asia in terms of sourcing can be dangerous. So this was one thing, not really answering your question, but the part for Asia was, I guess, important there, that we now not only rely on Asian sourcing anymore. When you compare Western or the US market with the Chinese market, you can say that when we first started doing business, Chinese consumers were not ready yet to hang their own picture on the wall. So they were rather, please forgive me if I can say that now, they would rather hang up some Mao picture or some general motif, a nature motif on the wall, rather than showing their own individual pictures, family pictures, etc. That has changed in recent years, and after starting the business in 2004 in China, we are now coming back and assessing this market. That's also one of the reasons why I am here today, or today and tomorrow. And the US is a totally different market, really expressing themselves. The customers are really open also, in contrast to what's happening in Europe. So the kind of motifs that people are uploading inside of for their canvas prints or photo books or other photo products is really different. So this is quite some chance to see also social differences there. Yes,
no, very good. And probably you learn by the way, and you testing and measuring and adapting to the realities that you see and the kind of the local needs. So, thanks for that. I think, Andrew, one of the things you touched earlier, which I think is a very impressive feature of your company, is your ability to execute quickly and expand and make things happen. So, I think a great question for you would be, what is your secret? What is your secret in making things happen?
Well, I wouldn't be a CEO if I didn't name my own company as part of the secret sauce. So we kind of, as our own team, we are mostly co-located, but we are very heavy users of different collaboration technology, Google ours, and so on and so forth, and that kind of allows us to move very fast. Like while I'm sitting here, my mobile phone has actually buzzed multiple times, and that's different sort of work progressing forward. It's also part of it is just culture, because again, we are we try to make decisions fast, and we're not afraid to do a mistake. We try it, and very, very data-driven. That also helps a lot for us. Any failed experiment is actually successful data gathering, if you will. So that helps. And we're also, not just in software development and product, but in marketing, we use a lot, if you're familiar with agile principles. So we operate on sort of real-time daily and weekly cadence rather than months, quarters, and years. And that helps as well. And we, maybe last but not least, we try to leverage a lot sort of the collective wisdom. So inside of the company, we try to unsilo it so people can chip in. For example, we've launched Chinese translation recently. It was done by our customer success manager in the United States. One of our employees volunteered for Russian translation. So that would just give you some of the examples. And similarly, we leverage our customers, their knowledge and their passion for our product and a lot of things we do. When we launched internationally, one of the first things we did was we launched a translation portal. It's called translate.rike.com if you're interested to benchmark. And so where our users can actually go in and submit their own translations to the user interface. So that allowed us to get into bigger pool of languages, but also to improve quality. Because if we don't speak that language, you hire a translator firm, they don't necessarily, they know the language, but they don't necessarily know their online world and software world. So the translation might be a little quirky. And so that helped us as well.
Yes, so combination of also the right tools, collaboration within the company, even also then with your own customers on how to drive it forward. So very good. So keep it up. I think it's very impressive speed of execution. David, another question for you. So in the just previous session, so we look at 6 different tools that can help all of us and our customers to drive into that kind of international expansion. So I want to get your thoughts on, have you used any of these, and how was it, your experience with some of the tools that we saw?
Yeah, so for my area, it's developing new platforms. I used 2 of those tools. The first one is a consumer barometer. So that I find it pretty useful to have a broad understanding on how local consumers behave. And particularly interesting for Trivago because you have a category for for the hotel industry. So here I can, for example, look at specific data. So what the share of online users booking their hotel stay online versus offline. And comparing this data against another country, I can make comparison and know more or less what I can expect from the prospective market. And then you can go into very granular data, so you can look at specific segment of the population, specific devices. So this is something I used particularly last year when looking at new market opportunities. And then there was another tool, so it's quite a new tool. It was introduced to me last year. It's a global market evaluator, which I found quite useful as well to have an overview of different metrics in the country. So you get economic information, online behavior information, also industry-specific data, and Google internal data. So you compile a lot of different sources of information together, and just asking my export account manager, I got like this overall overview of a specific market. And then you can also make comparison between different prospective market and also compare your home market to a new market.
Thanks, David. And Philip, because one of the things that differentiates you from David and Andrew is that for you, logistics and shipping is key for your business. And I think we'll be sharing, there is around 1/3 of the companies here is also one of the key challenges that they need to tackle to see how they can expand internationally effectively. So what would be your advice after your experience on how to handle shipping and logistics in their international expansion journey?
From Germany to
from their home country into other places.
Okay. I can only give advice when looking at our products and the specifics of our industry. So you might not know that we sell rather high volume weight products. So our products are bigger than normal packages. So we also are negotiating not with the usual logistic partners, not with UPS only, with DHL, etc. So we have to talk on in first place already with specific vendors in that field. Secondly, we need to measure, and we currently built this up semi-automatic, supported by our data warehouse, to decide automatically which vendor will be used for which combinations of products and volumes at the same time. So this is really important to lower the first the delivery time and then delivery costs as well. And thirdly, we measure in the end how the performance of each of those vendors is, in order to again change the formula and maybe also to decide to use different partners in different countries and different markets. Yeah.
Yes. So choosing the right partners and the measuring to make sure that then they are delivering to the standards also that you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have to check on our service providers if everything that they tell us is true, yes, or is not true.
Yes.
Because I mean, shipping is quite a big cost factor in our industry.
Yes. Thanks for that. And I think what we wanted to do also is we wanted to open the mics to the group for any questions that you might have for Andrew, Philip, and David. So if you have a question, raise your hand, and then we'll pass you one of these. Over there at the end, there is one question.
It's a long way.
Yes.
Kick it.
Yeah, throw it. Nice.
Your experience. This one. Okay, got it. Thanks for sharing your experience. But a question on localizing the creative copy. I mean, I can understand that you can translate very efficiently the ads, right? But I can bet, a copy that you put in an ad in Finland wouldn't fly somewhere in Spain. So do you do any localization there, or it's essentially the same message that you use across all the countries?
Right. So in terms of ads, initially we tried to start with the same type of messaging, right? So that allows us to really move fast into the market and to try to take a significant market share right away. Then when we want to optimize, we really need to adapt. And then there is where it's very important to test different messages, do a lot of A&B testing, and have the local insight to really adapt to your specific market. So at a later stage, you definitely need to go for specific type and format of ads.
Great question. Any other questions from the audience? So what's over there? Good catch.
There we go. This one? Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
How do you sacrifice quantity? Sorry, do you sacrifice quality for speed of execution? Yeah.
Maybe I can say something.
Yes, Philip.
About this. Definitely yes, and I think you have to. Because when you try to enter new markets where you're not alone, if you're alone then you're lucky maybe, but you will definitely have competition very fast. So entering a new market is key, and then everything that David said I can just underline, because that's the same thing the same strategy we use for ourselves. Additionally, there are some great Google tools in helping to find the the relevant local copy when it comes to ads, and also when it comes to the search queries you then need to use on the landing pages again. So yeah.
Yes. More questions? I can. Over there. Let's see. Oh, nice catch.
Here? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. I feel a bit stupid with talking to this. Anyways, hi. So first of all, congratulations. I use Rike in the agency where I work, so that's great to actually see you. So I have a question regarding branding. So we've spoken this morning about brand awareness and brand building. So you're all pretty new brands. I'm from Italy. In Italy, Trivago is doing TV ads. So I see the strategy that's behind the building of the brand. So I was wondering, Picanova and Rike, what your thoughts are on how you're going to build the brand, or how you have already worked in that direction. Thank you.
So it's a journey for us, and our background, as I mentioned, we started as a very data-driven company, so we were much better at performance marketing than branding and even messaging. So as we build the company, that becomes bigger and bigger point of focus. We're still approaching it mostly bottoms up. So for example, part of our brand building strategy is heavy focused on content marketing. And just putting more and higher value and thought leadership content out there, working with PR. You will see, I can't talk about it much, but you will see a pretty amazing campaign soon. That's actually another customer-driven thing. So basically, we have a customer who is a celebrity, and more than 1 billion hits on YouTube, sort of superstar, and he volunteered to do sort of a video with us, and we're going to do a lot of sort of creative messaging around that. So we're going bottoms up. So theoretically, in the future, there might be TV ads for Rike as well, but we're going step by step with the channels that we can measure the most, and kind of expanding into channels that are a little bit fuzzier as we go forward. And also, another important thing with branding, I just had our lunch recently with a lady who was running Ancestry.com, had a pretty huge budget. So if we take TV, which again for us is not necessarily the best media, but even there, at least in States, kind of over the last years, you gain so much more flexibility in sort of what your initial test budget is. When she was doing it, her test budget was $1 million. And right now, for example, I think you could do pretty good test at 100K, which is a 10x improvement, and maybe even less.
Yes. But also, I think one thing I was impressed also that then Rike has actually been now part of the language, because you call it write it down. So it's also a great way to get recognized in the branding. So well done, guys. More questions from the audience? Yes. Nice. You, Wolfgang, you should be a quarterback. Yes.
Here? Ah, yeah. Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
I have a question for you. How do you focus on the B2Bs?
So you mean
you have B2B, yeah, right.
For Philip?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, for
Andrew? For me?
Andrew. Okay.
Well, it's pretty much if you're talking about search, it's search queries, because we really target our audience and their search. The most obvious one would be project management software. There is a little bit of B2C there with students, for example, so theoretically, or job seekers. So if you can use negative keywords, that is a great optimization tip. Pretty obvious one, but just to give you an example. But other than that, if we're talking about search, it's pretty easy to do. If we're talking about content marketing, it's also relatively easy, because you pick the topics and you pick the placements most of the time. So I've never found this to be a challenge. It's kind of self-selects, if you will.
Very good. More questions? I have a question for you guys. What is the one thing that Google could do better to help you grow your business internationally better?
Yeah.
Oh, well, more than one thing. What things we could do better?
Now, maybe I can start with that. A lot of internal data provided often come indexed, first of all, into benchmark groups. So it's pretty good to make comparisons, but then sometimes it's a bit hard to have clear expectation about a market. So, of course, there's some confidentiality involved here, and there are a lot of restrictions. So you don't have access to exactly the data you would like to have. Then from my side, what I would like to see sometimes be like more reports about who are the people booking their hotel stays online, to have an exact like profile of these people per market. That would be really interesting.
Thanks, David.
So I will start with the fact that we love our account management team at Google, and they're actually very, very helpful on their expert side of things. So that's on tools, data, just actual hands-on help, and so on. In terms of asks, I didn't come to the panel thinking of it, but since you asked, so we've never figured out display on our side, to be honest. Please keep it confidential. But and so
we won't tell anyone.
So theoretically, it's a great opportunity for Google, right? For me as their CEO, like as long as it's a profitable spend, I'm all yours. Yes. We've got pretty heavy budgets, and part of the reasons why we haven't figured out is because display is oftentimes at least in our space, you can only figure it out if you're doing proper multi-touch attribution, and those tools are pretty expensive, so we're not necessarily looking forward to shell out $150K a year, things like that. So I think for Google, it's like early on you did a great job of giving Google Analytics for free, and that essentially allowed people to kind of measure their way into spending millions of dollars. And I think there might be an opportunity in kind of giving people more on the multi-touch front, so we could spend more on YouTube and display. So I think that would probably be the biggest task. And similar one, kind of again related to the data, because I'm a data geek, is Google shifted into obfuscating a lot of search queries on the SEO side. I know there are privacy concerns, there are other concerns, but we are bullish both on SEM and SEO, and for us, if we could optimize our content marketing more granularly, that would also be helpful, because it helps to build the very top of the funnel that comes before search, which actually, again, would result in better revenues for both us and Google.
Okay, thanks, Andrew. And Philip?
I talked, or we talked already with our account team about it, and we got really some great informations also about the benchmark topic, about our competitors, how we can improve, and what we can learn from our competitors. And secondly, what we really are working on right now, and where we also demand your help, is for placements to more and more make this granular. And same as you said, there is basically no barrier for budget. If the ROI is acceptable, then we're happy to give you the money, and not to Facebook or to Bing. You know.
So help you show the value of
yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Correct. So in general, we're happy in working with Google, and I think you get so many ideas and input also from other clients, like this audience, that you probably will surprise us with new features and tools in the near future. So I have nothing else to demand right now.
Thank you, guys. I've been taking notes of your ask. So we'll do our best to continue helping you guys grow the business. So I think we ran out of time. So thank you very much, Andrew, Philip, and David, for your time here.
Thank you.